You've probably seen plenty of videos about the best places to live in Southwest Washington. This is not one of those videos. Today we're talking about the suburbs where buyer demand is slowing down, and it's not because they're bad places to live, trust me on that. This is a beautiful, awesome area to live, but it's because the affordability and the monthly costs and the lifestyle trade-offs are starting to catch up. So in this video, I'm breaking down 7 Southwest Washington suburbs where buyers are kind of seeming to pull back right now, and what that actually means if you are buying or selling or thinking about relocating here. I'm Hayden Humphrey, a Southwest Washington real estate agent. I help buyers and sellers understand the real costs of living here and not just the highlight reel that you see in all these other videos. So let's go ahead and dive in. And so we're gonna be starting out with Camas. And Camas has been one of the most popular suburbs in Southwest Washington for years. And in fact, one of the most popular in the entire state. So what the data shows, the median home price right now in Camas, it's hovering around in the mid 800,000s. And it's among the highest in Clark County. Now homes are taking a lot longer to sell, often 70 to 80 days, unless they are priced aggressively. And this is kind of a interesting market we're in. The buyers are certainly not rejecting Camas. It's still a super popular place and it's an awesome place to live. But instead, they're hitting a monthly payment ceiling once the utilities get factored in, the taxes, the insurance, and the maintenance. Once all those are factored in, it's seeming like a lot of buyers are starting to slow down and really think about their overall, what's my entire expense to live in Camas? Now, Camas, there's so many positives about living here. It's an area where some of the best schools are in the entire region. There's a strong community feel. There's so much new construction, new neighborhoods, new development going on. You can feel it when you drive through Camas. And with all that said and done, the long-term resale demand is going to remain solid for the foreseeable future. So what's the takeaway? Camas, it still works extremely well for the right buyer, but the affordability sensitivity is definitely real. And I've seen this a lot when a buyer calls me, they want to check out Camas, they start factoring in the prices because it's one of the highest priced areas to live in Southwest Washington. And then everything surrounding living here, your monthly costs, the insurance costs. What if you buy a house, it's a resale that needs some work on it? That all needs to get factored in, and it's something you should definitely think about. All right, the next suburb, it's Vancouver. Now, Vancouver, I like to say it's neighborhood by neighborhood. There's really good places in Vancouver that are, I would say more expensive, and there's some areas of Vancouver that are not so desirable. Now, Vancouver has long been the go-to option for buyers wanting that city access without living in Portland. There's a lot of reasons behind that. We have the taxes. There's no state income tax in Washington, and it's simply 10 to 15 minutes, depending on where you're at, across the river. And obviously we've all seen Portland, Oregon all over the news, from homelessness to crazy prices over there. And so Vancouver has been a popular option for people that are kind of living in this area. Now there's different chunks and micro markets in Vancouver, but overall the median prices sit around $530,000, with the average days on market creeping into kind of the mid 50s to 60s. Days on the market. And especially for homes that are needing updates, I've seen many homes in Vancouver here recently that have been on the market for 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. And so what's happening right now is buyers are kind of comparing Vancouver more critically to the newer Clark County suburbs such as Camas, Washougal, Battleground, Ridgefield, and some others. Now, Vancouver, there are so many positives. We have excellent access to Portland, like I mentioned. And there's actually a lot of big business that's moving into Vancouver right now. Vancouver itself, it's walkable. You have fine dining. We have the Vancouver waterfront, and we do have some really nice established neighborhoods. And overall, Vancouver, like I said, it's neighborhood by neighborhood, depending on where you're at. We have a wide range of home styles and different price points. But the key takeaway here is Vancouver isn't really struggling, but buyers are now expecting clear value for the price. Buyers right now do not want to overpay for something, especially if it's an older home and it needs a lot of work, and the price needs to reflect that in real estate. Number 3, Ridgefield. So Ridgefield, it has been one of the favorites for families looking for space, for schools. I mean, just look at this. This is absolutely stunning. And this is a winter day. What is today? Well, it's just January. It is a little bit chilly out, but look at this weather we have here. So Ridgefield, I've made some videos on Ridgefield. The median price in Ridgefield typically range from the mid 600,000 range to the low 700K range, with homes often sitting 80 to 90 days unless they are move-in ready. And in Ridgefield, there is a ton of new construction options. There's different builders like New Tradition, Pacific Lifestyle Homes, Palish Homes. There are so many communities here where you can find an amazing new construction community, buy a house, not have to worry about renovating it. Now in Ridgefield, with all those new construction options, on the flip side of that, there are many listings right now that are older, they're outdated. Maybe they were built in the 70s or 80s, and they look like they're in the 70s and 80s. They're not updated. And those are typically the listings that are sitting on the market if they are not priced aggressively on where they're supposed to be at. And because of that squeeze that most people are feeling, a lot of folks, they don't have the money to buy something and then put 100 to 200K into it. Now there's a really nice community that was built in, I'm gonna say the 80s and 90s. It's over in Rolling Hills, maybe even 2000s. I think there's a couple phases, but these are gigantic estate properties, 5 acres or more, with these homes that are 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 square feet. But unfortunately, some of them are a little bit outdated. So if you are looking for something like that, this could be your opportunity to snag a good deal. Now with Ridgefield, it's much like Camas. There is so many positives going on right now. There are strong schools. It's a very family-focused community. As you can see, we got people that are just simply walking here. There's larger lots, and the streets around here seem to be very, very quiet. And it's definitely one of those communities that was well thought out and well planned. And overall, we're seeing continued population growth supporting long-term demand. Ridgefield is here to stay, and it's not going anywhere. So the key takeaway in Ridgefield is condition matters more than ever, and updated homes are performing the best. Most people that are moving to Ridgefield are buying something that's updated and new, not having to worry and have that stress about paying for all those maintenance items and all those items for updating the home, getting it up to snuff. All right, this next area is Battleground. Battleground is actually where I grew up. It's my hometown. Went to Battleground High School, K through 12. And since I've been in Battleground, there has just been rapid growth and so much new development going on. I actually went off to college for a few years, and I came back and I looked around and I said, oh my gosh, we have a Walmart now. I didn't know that field is full of new houses and that field's full of new houses. And that's kind of how the story has been being in Battleground. Now in Battleground, the median prices are near 600,000, with the days on market around 60 to 70 days, showing that buyers are seeming to take more time. Now in Battleground, I know actually on the Facebook page, I've seen a lot of people complaining about their HOA and HOA fees. We sometimes see this a lot over in Ridgefield and Camas, all these new construction communities with tighter, more restrictive HOAs. Now with HOA fees and lots that are seeming to get smaller and smaller every single year, along with all those added monthly costs, are becoming bigger decision points for buyers thinking of moving to Battleground and moving towards Northeast Clark County. But Battleground does have a lot going on for it. Like I said, a lot of new construction over there, a lot of community amenities, and it's still more affordable than a place like Camas or in Ridgefield. And there's a strong appeal for kind of the lifestyle focused buyers, maybe buyers that have families that are looking for living in the Southwest Washington area, but something more affordable than those other regions. And the takeaway is Battleground is still working. But what we're seeing right now is buyers are watching monthly affordability much more closely, looking at, if it's a resale house, if it's new, and asking themselves, is this going to be realistic and affordable for me to move my family here and make sure it's within my budget? All right, next up is Washougal. And with Washougal, we talk about growth versus infrastructure. And now recently, Washougal has exploded in popularity thanks to all the new construction, and obviously it's right next to Camas, and people are going, well, if Camas is kind of expanding, Washougal is going to get some of that drift. So in Washougal, the median prices are generally sitting in the high 500s to mid $600,000 range, with some homes selling much faster than the nearby suburbs, but it's obviously very location specific on which homes are selling quicker. And what we're seeing in Washougal right now is growth. The growth there has outpaced the infrastructure, definitely in certain pockets, not the entire Washougal city, but it's leading buyers to be more selective with their choices, the location, and what neighborhood that they want to purchase in. Now, we talk a lot about, monthly utilities and these different costs that we have, but overall, a lot of people ask me, they go, Hayden, do you think this is a good investment? And I certainly factor in the infrastructure. So a place, maybe up north, a place like Amboy, where, there's not a grocery store, there's only a couple schools, but it's mostly farms and properties on acreage. Is that going to support a huge resale demand? That's the question you need to ask yourself. And Washougal is kind of facing that battle of, is the town really going to start growing? Because so many more people are moving in. Is there going to be new updated grocery stores? Is there going to be a new library? Things like that, that's going to support the community with all the population coming into town. And that question, hey, is this going to be a good investment long-term? I get asked that a lot. And if you are in that position, you're thinking about moving to Southwest Washington, definitely feel free to reach out, call, text, email, and I will shoot you straight. I am open, honest. My wife says I'm an open book, and maybe to a fault sometimes. Or maybe you're in the early stages, you're thinking about Southwest Washington, it's on your radar. We made an awesome relocation guide. You're welcome to download that for free and check it out. It has a ton of information about each specific area, the pros, the cons, everything in between. Now, Washougal has a lot of positives going for it. It's a scenic setting near the Columbia River Gorge. Obviously, the gorge has some of the best hiking and some of the most amazing views in the nation. Now, Washougal still has a ton of new construction opportunities for you. And compared to a place like Canis, it's still relatively affordable, especially being within the same vicinity. But some places from Washougal to Camas are nearly minutes away. And oftentimes we find those, I call them the Washougal gems, that have the Camas school district, that's how it's zoned, but they're in Washougal. But overall, Washougal rewards buyers who choose location carefully. It's no longer one size fits all like we saw back in 2021 and 2022. All right, next up is Brush Prairie. So Brush Prairie, it remains one of the most desirable areas in the county, and it's certainly priced that way as well. The higher end homes are sitting longer unless they are turnkey, and the price adjustments are much more common at the top end. So what's happening in Brush Prairie overall, the buyers at higher price points are far more selective. We're seeing this constantly. And Brush Prairie has a lot going for it. There are larger homes, especially on acreage, and larger lots. And there's definitely a strong neighborhood identity. People from Brush Prairie go, yeah, we live in Brush Prairie, we love it. And overall, there's excellent long-term desirability just because you're not really focused around a certain town. It's mostly farmland, agriculture, and large open fields. And Brush Prairie has a lot going for it. And when you drive through Brush Prairie, you're gonna go, wow, this is just kind of open fields, agriculture, farmland. That's the point, exactly. Yet you have the convenience of being close into town over to East Vancouver and kind of sandwiched in between East Vancouver and Battleground. Now, the takeaway with Brush Prairie is it's still highly sought after, but pricing and condition, just like all these other reasons, are going to matter more than ever. All right, and the final suburb I'm going to talk about is Fisher's Landing. With Fisher's Landing, we think about cost versus lifestyle. Now, Fisher's Landing is over in East Vancouver, and it's been seen as a higher end, kind of a convenient suburb that's over East Vancouver that kind of buds up to the Camas area. And what the data has shown is the sales volume has definitely softened, and higher priced homes are taking longer to sell unless they are heavily updated and super turnkey. Now, I won't go into the weeds of it, but what's happening is buyers are questioning whether the lifestyle matches the cost, because trust me, it is a premium cost to live over in Fisher's Landing. Now, Fisher's Landing has a ton of things going for it. It's an extremely convenient location, which is obviously why people want to live there. There's established neighborhoods with a lot of mature landscaping. When you drive through Fisher's Landing, you look around, you go, wow, this is a nice place. There's a lot of shopping, there's dining, there's freeways, there's just close access to everything. We get a lot of people that are interested in Fisher's Landing that come over from Portland, maybe because they have to commute to Portland, but obviously they want to be over in Southwest Washington for those reasons that I said earlier. But the takeaway here is the prestige alone no longer guarantees demand, and buyers want the numbers to make sense for them If they are moving over, maybe they're moving themselves or their family, they want to make sure it's within their budget. And overall right now, people are feeling that squeeze. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. None of these suburbs are bad places to live by any means. They're certainly not crashing. They're more so like normalizing, I would say. And across Southwest Washington, the inventory is rising, the days on market are increasing, and the buyers here are more payment focused than they've been in years. And this is exactly what I help my clients navigate every single day, understanding where value still makes sense, where the buyers have leverage, and which neighborhoods hold up long term. If you are thinking about buying, selling, or relocating to Southwest Washington, and you want someone who's lived here almost their whole life, you want honest, data-driven guidance, you're welcome to reach out anytime. I would love to help you make a confident decision. Or maybe you're still in the early stages thinking about moving to Southwest Washington. Maybe it's on your radar. You're welcome to download my relocation guide below. Thanks for watching.